The Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our ServiceNow series, where we interview the best and brightest of the industry to share their story, advice, and views on the exciting world of ServiceNow and digital transformation.
Hi everybody, it's Mark Kelly, Chief Customer Officer at Alldus International and co-founder, and I'm very, very happy to welcome you to the Alldus podcast. As part of our ServiceNow series, I'm very, very happy to welcome Anne Granet. Anne is a pre-sales manager for ServiceNow at Devoteam, and she's also Employee Workflow Champion at Devoteam as well. Anne, thank you very much for joining us. I believe you're in Paris, France today.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. So, Anne, tell us a little bit about your background and journey to now.
So my journey to ServiceNow really started in 2024. At this time, in fact, I was a client of ServiceNow. I worked in a media company as a project director. I already had conducted projects for CRM, for ERP, for supply chain. And I had the opportunity to lead the implementation of ServiceNow for ITSM. And I must say it was love at first sight with the platform. At the time, it was an IT project, but it gave me the opportunity really to see the full potential of the platform for not only for IT process, but also for any business who would support the employee. So I found a way. I worked with the partner at the time, and I found a way to push the boundaries of the project, and we start to build process for onboarding, and we added facility CMEs, HR CMEs to the project team. So it was really fun, I must say, and it was really challenging to see how far we could push the platform. I'm not an engineer, so for me, I see the organization really through the processes and their efficiency. And for me, the platform was just heaven. It was the way to push the transformation of the business, to push the transformation of the organization in terms of process automation and efficiency. So after the project, for me, I saw an opportunity to change my career and to keep working on ServiceNow platform. And it was a good idea because at this time, it was about 2016, I think. Devoteam was looking for people with this kind of mindset, not IT people, but people who were coming from business in order to grow and expand their capabilities with ServiceNow. So I joined Devoteam. And the ServiceNow business unit in Devoteam, and I was suddenly in charge of developing Devoteam offerings and go-to-market for all process on ServiceNow beyond the IT process. And at this time in 2016, it was the early days of the HRSD module, and it was really for me very exciting because it gave me the opportunity to go to San Diego, to talk with the product owner at ServiceNow of HRSD, to build relationship, bring new vision to the market. And it's been 6 years, and I must say there's never a dull moment. And now, 6 years after, we are leaders in HRSD deployment on EMEA. And I'm not only a pre-sales manager, but I am also, as you mentioned, the Employee Workflow Champion for Devoteam and ServiceNow.
And thank you for that comprehensive overview. And that was a very fruitful transition over. So you bet well, felt kind of like a sliding doors moment in terms of what you did. And not having an engineering background didn't hold you back because you could see the benefits of the workflow and the processes being improved and how that can actually help the customer. So you mentioned your role in Devoteam from the pre-sales manager perspective, but you're also from the employee workflow champion. For people who are listening in who may not know much about that, can you explain to us in terms of what's the focus on implementation of projects and digitalization of HR services? Can we kind of go into a little bit more detail on that?
Yes, of course. So what does it mean to be an employee champion and to work on pre-sales at Devoteam? It means several things. First, what we did is we did a Devoteam. At Devoteam we are 8,000 consultants. And dedicated to ServiceNow, we have more than 700 consultants now deployed in 18 countries across EMEA. So the first thing that we did is to build a core team for employee workflow. So employee workflow with ServiceNow, it covers HRSD module. It covers also the Employee Center and Employee Center Pro modules. It covers also now workplace service delivery, legal service delivery, and of course everything related to life cycle events for process across the organization, like onboarding and offboarding. So the idea was to build a core team focused on this module and this approach, which is not IT oriented, but is really a transformation, business transformation, HR organization oriented, with people from not only engineers and technical specialists of the solution, but also people who were able to talk with each of the business. And when you need to talk to HR, you must know the words, the vocabulary of HR, the challenges that HR has. Same goes with with workplace service delivery and so on. So we had people from technical profile, business profile, process profile, management of change profile, as well as UX designer. And with this core team, we build materials, we build enablement, and we support, again, across all EMEA, we support pre-sales, or marketing. We support marketing activities, pre-sales, sales activity, as well as delivery activities. So now Devoteam is able to deploy employee experience and employee workflow project in the same way in all over Europe. So now we have more than 50 consultants who are certified on this module and who can build on this project. So why did we focus on the employee workflow? And how did it really accelerate it for us? I must say that in the last 2 years, and especially with the pandemic, we saw a lot of change and a lot of interest in ServiceNow and in digitalization of HR process and automation of HR process, as well as the shift toward a more employee-centric approach in order to support the collaborators inside the organization. Why did we saw that, and why do we keep seeing that? It's because, of course, it's I don't know if you heard about the big quit, but
yeah, it's a big challenge.
Exactly. With the pandemic, now workers are rethinking their careers, their work conditions, their long-term goals, and we saw a large wave of resignation in US and across the world. In Europe, it's a bit different. I'd rather talk about a big shortage because the difficulty to recruit skilled people were very important long before the COVID, especially in France. So we see this mismatch between the labor market, which is very strained in the profession who are in the front line, but also in the management, in IT, in bank, of course, for different reasons. So we see this very stretched market, but we see also millions on in-field job. And because we have this mismatch between people who are available and companies who are looking for specific skill. And because of that, we saw the interest of the HR and the organization all together to attract talent, and not only to attract talent, but also how to retain talent, more importantly, and to reskill them in order to be able to fill that gap. And now we see that ServiceNow, with the HR having more and more maturity and insight about ServiceNow capabilities, they understand what the platform can provide to them. And I would say that in 2021 and 2022, we saw during our discussion with clients through the project that we delivered, we saw how this level of maturity evolved with our clients. First, they were a bit scared about sharing a platform with other business, because HR is very, they want to keep their tool. They have a dedicated IT organization with HRIS, so they are very, they want to keep control and to keep the governance on their tools, but they saw the benefits of the platform, first by automating their process. If you want to onboard people during the pandemic, you need to have a digitized process. So it was really an accelerator.
It's also important to note, Anne, that the research shows that if people are not onboarded effectively, because everybody remembers their first day at work, there is a very, very high correlation of churn within 3 to 6 months. So for one person, they might have their laptop, their logins, they're ready to go to their first Teams meeting with their manager and their colleagues, where other people can be doing documentation and reading reports and not ready to go until maybe 48 hours or 72 hours later. And this is a really negative experience that has a dramatic impact for the rest of their career. So getting this right for people listening in is just so important.
Exactly. And it's one of the benefits of having a platform approach of this process, because it's, as I often say, it's not for the employee to bear the burden of the complexity of the organization and its tools. It's not for the employee, especially a newcomer or even before they come, to have to understand that they should send an email to this address for this material, an email for this address to get their access to their application, or to go to this link for a survey. It's too complicated. It's not a good experience. And as you mentioned, you don't want to start with that kind of experience. And it's not only about designing a good process, it's also to be able to design a great experience and a great journey for the newcomers, or once is inside the organization, for every important moment in his career. So that's what ServiceNow brings, and that's what we also embrace by using not only technical consultant and a technical approach of the process, but also to have the employee experience and to design employee experience and employee journey when we work on this kind of project. And this is really what the clients are expecting, because again of this employee-centric approach and the need for the employee-centric approach.
And I think it's the only way you can go, because this is the trends, this is the current situation. There's a skills gap. We want to empower our people that work for us. So let's train them or retrain them. Let's provide them with new skills that they need to want to learn, but also they feel like they're growing. The process has become more improved because they're automated, allowing people in HR to do better processes. And it means there's a consistent and transparent way to do things, rather than, oh, if you know this person, that person can set it up for you. But for a new person who's joining the pandemic, they did not know where to start, and it can be quite a lonely experience not being able to walk up to your colleague and touch them on the shoulder and say, sorry, could you help me through this? I need to post an advertisement, or I need to find out about my pension contributions.
Exactly, and you have to also to keep in mind that there is a simple rule of the symmetry of attention. If you have happy employees, you will have happy customer, and your business will grow. So it's quite pragmatic approach as well. And if you need to have committed and engaged employees, so you need to take care of them and to support them to make their work easier, and to keep them focused on delivering for the organization. You also need, based on that, you will be able to get a positive and effective communication. It's really about the servant leadership for manager, and it's part of the main objectives and the main challenge for the HR in 2023, and to be able to help the manager and help them to deliver this servant leadership. And based on that, customer will be well served, and you will have a satisfied customer and higher profits and organizational growth. It's really basic approach.
When you think about the benefits to that employee-centric approach, you kind of talked about committed, engaged employees, effective communication, servant listenership, and satisfied customers, and ultimately higher profits and organizational growth. Is there any direction that you'd like ServiceNow to go in adding additional services that it may not have added at the moment, and maybe any other areas that it could be going into that really excites you?
Yeah, in fact, I'm super excited. I don't know if you noticed, but in June 2022, so last June, ServiceNow acquired HitchWorks. I don't know if you know about HitchWorks, but their baseline is that they bring the skills intelligence and talent mobility on the platform. So really, for me, it will bring ServiceNow to the next level in terms of business intelligence and transformation. I think it was Gretchen Alarcon, she's the vice president of HR Service Delivery at ServiceNow. What she said is that if skills are the new currency for business, then insight into this skill is critical to driving talent retention and adapting to evolving business needs. So with this acquisition of HitchWorks, ServiceNow will be able to do that matching between business development, business growth, organizational process, workflow in ServiceNow, and the skills and competency needed to make it work all together. So with that, I think that with each capabilities integrated in ServiceNow, tomorrow organization will be able to streamline the skills intelligence on their platform and help business leaders to match employee with meaningful work. And that's really strategic for me.
And that is really exciting, because people want to go to work each day to add value. Exactly. It's like we talk about the long resignation and things like this. However, the reality is they want to do their best work. They want to feel empowered. It's usually because the environment doesn't allow them to do this, or they're not really set up for success or a per match, that they don't get the opportunity to do this. So having that proactive approach where they're matching like for like, this is something that's particularly exciting as well. I could see why you'd want to do that.
Exactly. We have a glimpse of it thanks to process optimization with process mining and the link with workforce optimization. But with each acquisition, I think they are going to really to accelerate on that. And it shows really how ServiceNow keeps building on its workflow, the automation capability, the artificial intelligence capability, and the people skills capabilities. And we are going to see a huge performance enhancement for the organization thanks to that, I think.
So, and that was our question that was posed for our previous guest. What question would you like to ask for our next guest?
Okay, so my question will be for your next guest. Your next guest. Sorry. Which ServiceNow capability is the most disruptive for you, and why? That's a tricky one.
That is a tricky one because it's going to be very personal.
Exactly.
To you. I have my own thoughts on that, but we'll leave that to our guest. Thank you very much for your time today. You've been listening to the Alldus podcast, part of our ServiceNow series, and I've had the pleasure of chatting with Anne Granet. Anne is pre-sales manager of ServiceNow for Devoteam and also Employee Workflow Champion. And Anne's been telling us a little bit about her transition into her role, some of the work that she does within the HR onboarding and workflows and adding value within the organization. We talked a little bit about the opportunity to empowering employees to do their very, very best work and have a fight against the big quit as well. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for your time as well.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.